Welcome to African Tales, where we uncover the forgotten stories, mysteries, and truths of Africa's past. Today we dive into one of the most shocking events in African history, the Berlin Conference of 1884-1885, the meeting that divided Africa without Africa. The year was 1884. Europe was hungry for land, power, and resources. Industrialization had swept across Europe, and nations like Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Portugal, and Italy were desperate for raw materials: gold, diamonds, ivory, and even human labor. Africa was rich, but to Europe, Africa was not seen as a continent of people with history, culture, and civilizations. To them, it was a cake waiting to be sliced. In November 1884, German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck invited representatives from 14 European powers to Berlin. Around the table sat the colonial giants of Europe: Britain, France, Belgium, Portugal, Spain, Italy, and others. They brought maps, pens, and empty stomachs for conquest. But here's the shocking truth: not a single African leader was invited. Imagine, strangers sitting thousands of miles away deciding the fate of millions of people they had never met. For 4 months they argued, negotiated, and drew borders with rulers and pencils, slicing through ancient kingdoms, families, and cultures. To them, rivers and mountains were boundaries, but to Africans, those lands were homes, spirits, and ancestors. But why was Africa excluded from the table? The answer is painful. To the Europeans, Africans were not seen as equals. They were seen as obstacles, people to be controlled, not voices to be heard. Another reason: division. At that time, Africa had powerful kingdoms and empires: the Ashanti, the Zulu, the Sokoto Caliphate, the Buganda, Ethiopia. If African leaders were invited, they would have resisted the partition. The Europeans knew this, so they shut Africa out. The truth is, it was never a conference for Africa. It was a conference about Africa. Africans were treated not as participants, but as prizes. The lines they drew in Berlin did not respect Africa's realities. Families were split between colonies, enemies were forced into one state, ancient trade routes and cultures were cut in half. This is why today, Africa has over 50 countries, many with borders that make no sense. Those borders came not from African decisions but from European greed. But here's something they never tell you: Africa did not stay silent. From the Herero resistance in Namibia, to the Ashanti Wars in Ghana, to the Battle of Adi Doe in Ethiopia, where Africans defeated the Italians, Africans fought back. The Berlin Conference may have carved Africa, but it could never kill the African spirit. The Berlin Conference was not just a meeting, it was a theft of land, culture, and dignity. And the shocking truth is, Africa was not invited, because the colonizers never wanted Africa's voice to be heard. But today, we tell these stories. We reclaim our history, and we remind the world that Africa was never just a cake to be divided. It is a continent of people, of power, and of tales that will never die. Thank you for watching African Tales. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that uncover the hidden truths of our past.